AFC Under-17 Asian Cup Saudi Arabia 2026 draw mechanism. Entries. Based on the confirmation of qualified teams on December 1, 2025, the following 16 teams will participate in the AFC Under-17 Asian Cup Saudi Arabia 2026 finals. Competition format. The AFC Under-17 Asian Cup Saudi Arabia 2026 finals will consist of a group stage and knockout stage. Group stage. 16 participating teams will be divided into 4 groups of 4 teams each, with each group to be played in a centralized league format. The following match sequence shall apply for the group stage. The number designates the position drawn in each group. Following the conclusion of the group stage, the first-placed and second-placed participating teams in each group, 8 teams in total, shall qualify for the knockout stage. Knockout stage. The knockout stage shall consist of the quarterfinals, semifinals, and final, with each round to be played in a centralized knockout format. All matches shall be played in accordance with the AFC competition's calendar, and the match schedule will be determined by the AFC after the draw. Draw principles. Seeding and pot allocation. As the host association of the finals, Saudi Arabia shall be seeded into Pot 1 as the top-seeded country. The remaining 15 participating teams are seeded into 4 pots based on the point system set by the AFC Competitions Committee. Points are calculated based on each participating member association's final ranking in the 3 most recent editions of the AFC Under-17 Asian Cup. Draw procedures. 16 participating teams are divided into different pots as per the seeding and pot allocation principle. The host association, Saudi Arabia, will be identified by a different colored ball in Pot 1. The draw will be conducted in accordance with the following sequence. The draw will commence with Pot 4, followed by the order of Pots 3, 2, and 1 to ensure that the highest seeded teams are drawn last. Each pot will be completely emptied before moving on to the next pot. Participating teams from Pot 4 will be drawn into position 4 of each group in alphabetical order. Subsequently, the same procedures shall apply for Pots 3 and 2. Saudi Arabia, as the host association, shall be drawn first into position A1. The remaining participating teams from Pot 1 will be drawn into position 1 of each group in alphabetical order. This shall conclude the draw for the AFC Under-17 Asian Cup Saudi Arabia 2026.
An exciting mix of contenders for the crown indeed. They will next find out their opponents. So let's start today's draw, and we'll start from pot 4. First, for the A4 position. Myanmar. Myanmar goes to A4. Their last appearance in the finals was dated back to 2006, and this is their 5th time qualification to the final stage of the competition. Next, we will draw team for B4. Qatar. Qatar is going to B4. One-time champion in 1990. Qatar didn't qualify for the last edition in 2025, but they came back this year after their last qualification in 2023. And next team, we will draw the position 4 in Group C. For C4, we have United Arab Emirates. This is second consecutive time for UAE to qualify to the final stage, in total 9 times in the finals. And the last edition, they finished as one of the quarterfinalists, and the best result was dated back in 1990 as the runner-up in that competition. Last team from Pot 4 and for D4. DPR Korea. Also second qualification in a row to the final stage. In last edition, they performed quite well, reached the semi-final, and also 2 times champion winning in the history, 2010 and 2014. DPR Korea failed D4, and we completed Pot 4. Move on to Pot 3. First, we draw team for A3. Thailand. Thailand's best finish in this competition was actually a champion's title back in 1998. In the most recent edition in 2025, they only completed the group stage. Thailand in A3, and we move on for B3. China PR will be joining Qatar in Group B, and this is the 3rd qualification in a row for China PR. They have won the champion in this competition 2 times, back in 1992 and 2004. Now we have the next team. That for C3. Vietnam. Vietnam's best result in this competition was 4th place back in 2000, and then in the last edition, they finished in the group stage. And now we have the last position 3 in Group D. The team will be India. India missed the 2025 edition, and their last appearance in the finals was 2023. They were also the quarterfinalists in 2002 and 2018. That was their best finish in this age category. And now moving on to Pot 2, we'll repeat the same process, that we will draw teams into position 2 of each group. Tajikistan. They will be going to A2. This is the total 6th qualification and 4th in a row for Tajikistan. Last edition in 2025, they reached the quarterfinal, and in 2018, that was their best finish as the 2nd place in this competition. And next team, we are joining for B2. Indonesia. Also one of the quarterfinalists in the last edition in 2025, and their best result was 4th place in this tournament in 1990. Indonesia in B2, and next team will go to C2. Yemen. Yemen's best finish was runners-up back in 2002, but they have played well in youth competition in the recent editions, and this is their 5th qualification in a row in this category. Yemen in C2, and we have the last group for position 2. Australia. Total qualified 9 times and 9 times consecutively. Australia also the semi-finalists for 3 editions before in 2010, 2014, and 2018. That was their best finish in this competition. And finally, come to pot 1, where our host team is also included in this pot. We will then first place the host, Saudi Arabia, into A1. Saudi Arabia. The runner-up team of the most recent 2025 edition, which was also hosted in Saudi, and they have also hosted another edition back in 1992. 2 times champion winning for this team in 1980s. And now we will draw the position 1 of the remaining groups. Japan. Japan now is drawn to B1. They have qualified for this competition for quite many times, and this is the 16th in a row in the final stage. In the last edition, they played in the quarterfinals. Unfortunately, didn't go through the next step, but they have 4 champions title in the history, the last one being in 2023. Korea Republic. They are now drawn to C1, semi-finalist in 2025 edition, and also 2 times champion holder in 1986 and 2002. In total, they have qualified to the final stage for 17 times. And now we have our last team of today. To fill the D1 position, Uzbekistan. Also the defending champion, the first place from the 2025 edition. In addition, they have won the champion title in 2012. This is the 3rd time qualification in a row in this under-17 age category. Now that concludes today's AFC Under-17 Asian Cup Saudi Arabia 2026 final draw, and we look forward to a wonderful tournament to be kicked off in May later this year. I will hand the floor back to Alex.
Thank you, Jessie. Everyone, another round of applause for our draw conductor. Now, let me just give you a quick rundown of the final draw results. In Group A, we have host Saudi Arabia, Tajikistan, Thailand, and Myanmar. In Group B, Japan, Indonesia, China PR, and Qatar. In Group C, we have Korea Republic, Yemen, Vietnam, and United Arab Emirates. And finally, in Group D, we have Uzbekistan, Australia, India, and DPR Korea.